Do you need a bridge job? In this video, that's what we're going to find out together. So I'm going to walk you through a scenario. Let's see if this resonates with you. You desperately want to change careers. You hate what you're doing now. It doesn't feel good. But the issue is you are so burnt out. You're so exhausted. Maybe you're working long hours, or you're just so emotionally tired from your current job that the idea of spending that time, that energy, that thought on going through the career change process, which we talked about in the training above, just feels impossible to you because you don't have the time or the energy to do it. If that is you, then a bridge job might be what you need. So in this video, we're going to cover what actually is a bridge job, what does it mean, and what is the process to going out and get one. So what actually is a bridge job? Essentially, a bridge job is a job that requires low stress, low emotional energy, so that most importantly, you can come home after work and have the mental and emotional energy to pursue other things. For you, that means pursuing your long-term fulfilling career, being able to put time and energy into pursuing that outside of work. So a bridge job is meant to be temporary. It's not meant to be something that you stay in forever necessarily, unless you end up really loving it and wanting to stay there, which has happened to clients of mine in the past. And generally a bridge job is a job where either you're doing something that is like pretty easy, not too taxing, or something where you're such an expert in it, you find it relatively easy. It's also supposed to be a job where you're not working super long hours, you're not working overtime, you're not bringing work home with you. Now, a bridge job definitely isn't for everyone. With all of the clients that I work with going through career change, it tends to be about 20% of them that need a bridge job. And those 20% are people who are really not happy in what they're doing now, and they really want to get out ASAP. Their main priority is getting out of this job and getting into another one really quickly, and they can't imagine staying in their current job for more than a couple months. So let's look at some of the common signs that you might need a bridge job. Number one is that you are just exhausted when you come home at the end of the day. You are either emotionally or physically so tired that all you want to do is like sit on the sofa and do nothing. Another one is that you're working really, really long hours. So it's just really hard to find the time to do anything else other than work and do the basic necessities at home. And another one is just that you're really unhappy in your job. Showing up to work really makes you miserable. You don't want to be there, and you don't want to stay there for any longer than you absolutely have to. So does this resonate with you? I want to walk you through an example of one of my clients who ended up getting a bridge job and kind of what that looked like. So about a year ago, I worked with a client called Hannah. Hannah was working at a early learning facility. She was the manager there. She was a director. So she ran everything, and she was super, super exhausted from her job. It was the kind of thing where she felt like she didn't have time to go to the bathroom. She was working really long hours. People were really disappointed with her, but she was working really, really hard. And so she showed up to coaching, and she worked such long hours that we ended up having our coaching calls at 9 p.m., which isn't even a time that I have on my calendar anymore. But that was the only time when she was free, because she would go to work early in the morning and she would come home. And over working together for a couple weeks during that time, we really realized that she didn't have the time or the emotional energy to actually do this career change work, because career change really involves going into who you are. It involves exploring yourself, and that takes time, and it takes emotional energy as well. And so pretty quickly we identified that a bridge job was going to be the right option for her. So how did we do it, and how do you do it? That's what we want to look at next. So what we did is we initially went into like a really quick self-discovery. So if you look back at the training further up this page, you'll see that that discovery process can take like more than a month, a couple months sometimes. And so what we do when we're looking for a bridge job is we kind of go through a mini self-discovery where we identify your best skills, what is most important for you to have in this bridge job, what kind of work environment is really important to you, what your non-negotiables are, and what your passions are and what you really love, in case there could be any overlap, and in case you can find a bridge job that involves some of those passions and things that you love. The reason why we do this and we don't go straight into just applying for jobs is because you don't need this bridge job to be like the perfect thing. It doesn't need to be what you do forever, but it does need to be better than what you're doing right now. It does need to be a job that you don't dread going to work and doing. It does need to be a job that makes you feel kind of calm, relaxed, and like you have space. And so we do spend a bit of time identifying what you need from a job and what you can bring to a job. Because ideally, if you're choosing a bridge job that uses your natural skills, the bridge job is going to be easier for you. And that's what we want. So with Hannah, we did this mini self-discovery. And then after we did that and we had her non-negotiables, we had the kind of skills she was wanting to use, we knew the kind of work environment, and also we knew how she wanted to feel in this bridge job. That one's important too. How do you want to feel in this job? Then we went into the job search process pretty quickly. And we did this in two ways. The biggest way was the networking approach, and that is what you can find in the training above for how to do it. So we do mostly networking. In addition to that, if you are not looking for a job that is remote, if your bridge job doesn't need to be remote, then I do also encourage people to look on job sites, local job listings and stuff like that. The reason why we only do that, or why I encourage only doing that for jobs that are not remote, is because online applications for remote jobs there's a lot of competition for those jobs. And so you need to have a killer resume, you need to apply for a ton of jobs. And so if we want to get this job quickly, it's going to be actually more effective for us to apply for just local jobs where the competition is far lower. And so you have much more of a chance of getting an interview, etc. And using a networking approach, so you can be talking to people straight away. I've said it in the networking training above, I'll say it right now. I've had clients who have gotten jobs, remote jobs as well, through the networking approach within like 3 weeks, which is amazing. So this is what Hannah did. She went through applying for local jobs, she went through the networking approach, and within 3 months of the beginning of our time working together and her getting the job, it took her 3 months in total to do that. And she ended up getting a job for this big corporation that she just ended up loving. She was working in admin for them. And having gone from a place that was super chaotic, where so much responsibility was on her, where she felt like she was behind all the time, this corporation that was a really good corporation and really took care of her and had good procedures was exactly what she needed for a bridge job. It was a place where she could go and get calm, she could get safety, she could leave work at the end of the day and not have to think about it until the next day. And she went into that job and she left her job at the early learning facility, and she was a different person. It was wild. So we actually continued working together after she got her bridge job, because she wanted to go through this discovery process in a more in-depth way to kind of explore some of those future career possibilities after having gotten into her bridge job. And it was wild, the different energy that she showed up with. She showed up with so much more presence and so much more calm. And I kept on saying to her, like, it's like you're a different person. And that shows you how much a negative work environment can impact who you are and how you show up in the world. So with Hannah, she actually ended up loving this bridge job so much that she actually stayed there. She really loved the corporation. That structure really worked for her. And within about 2 months of being at the company, she ended up getting a promotion. And so she saw this great way that she could really build up in the company and move up into higher positions. And so we ended up going through the discovery process, continuing to go through that with her, because she wanted it as just a personal growth tool and to know herself more. And then we left with her having this plan to move up through the company. So it was a funny thing where for her, she actually loved this bridge job so much, she ended up staying. So does a bridge job resonate with you? Does that feel like what you need? As I said before, it's about 20% of people that I find that need a bridge job. But when you're that 20%, it's like a lifeline, because you are so exhausted from what you're doing right now. That bridge job is so important to give you the mental and emotional energy to pursue what you really want to pursue. So does this option feel right for you? If it does, then I encourage you to go through that mini discovery to identify what your best skills are, what kind of work environment you want, what's most important to you, what your passions are in case you can get some overlap there, and what your non-negotiables are. Really encourage you to go through that mini self-discovery process and then use that networking approach along with a little bit of applying for local jobs online. I encourage you to use that strategy to go and get a bridge job. If that idea feels kind of overwhelming and you're just like, but still, where do I start? Like, what exactly do I do in this self-discovery? I don't know my skills. People say that a lot. They're like, I don't know what my skills are. Someone said that to me just this morning. I don't know what my skills are. It's hard for me to identify these things. And then what do I actually say when I reach out to people for networking? How do I build a resume that looks good? If you want more one-on-one support with that stuff, then that's why I made the Career Compass method. So that's the one-on-one coaching that I offer. And if that feels just lovely for you to have that to support, to have someone guiding you through the process, to have someone giving you the templates, all that stuff, there is a link to book a discovery call down here where you can figure out if that's right for you. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you soon.